things slept in this shop, forgotten things. Each held a tiny story, a whisper from a time long past. Shelves climbed very high. They touched the deep shadows above. Many clocks ticked, but not together. Their sounds made a chorus of lost time. Soft, gentle light from a street lamp outside painted the window. It was a special place, this shop. A place between worlds, perhaps. A quiet place where magic might just be real. Raj often felt it, a soft hum beneath all the silence. Raj moved like a quiet shadow among the other shadows. He loved the shop. He loved its still, silent heart. Tonight the air felt different. It felt thicker somehow. It tingled on his skin. Midnight chimed. A deep, sonorous bell rang out. It came from the tall grandfather clock in the far corner. The sound of the bell vibrated. It moved through the old floorboards, and then through Raj himself. He felt a strange pull. It drew him towards the back of the store. This was a place usually draped in even deeper darkness. He felt an odd sense of anticipation, a curious feeling he could not quite name. There, it sat on a small velvet cushion. It was a pocket watch, but it was not just any watch. This one glowed with a soft light. A warm, gentle light pulsed from deep within it like a tiny, captured star, or perhaps a very small, sleeping sun. The light pushed back the shadows all around it. It painted the nearby trinkets and forgotten objects in shades of gold. Raj just stared. His breath caught tight in his throat. He had never, ever seen anything like it before. It was so beautiful. It was quite impossible. It felt like it was calling to him. Curiosity was a tiny spark at first. Then it grew into a small flame. Raj reached out a slow, hesitant hand. As he neared, the glow from the watch intensified. It grew brighter. It warmed his skin. He could feel a faint thrumming sound, a gentle soft vibration against his curious fingertips. The watch was very old. It was made of silver, chased with strange tiny symbols. The symbols seemed to shift and move. They flowed like liquid light. He wondered about its maker. He wondered about its long journey to this dusty, forgotten shelf. This was no ordinary timepiece. He knew that for sure. He picked it up. The watch felt surprisingly warm in his palm. It was heavy. It felt substantial. The glowing symbols on its surface swirled faster now. The light from it filled his eyes, bright and warm. The familiar shapes of the shop around him began to fade away. The ticking of all the other clocks grew distant, then silent. A strange, unseen wind seemed to blow through the still air. It whispered secrets he couldn't quite hear, words just out of reach. The floor beneath his feet felt less solid, less real. Fear mingled with an overwhelming, powerful sense of wonder. He clutched the watch very tightly. The world twisted around him. Colors blurred into streaks. Sounds warped and bent. It felt like falling through a very vivid dream, or perhaps through the pages of a magical story. The air grew cold for a moment, then suddenly warm again. He felt a dizzying, spinning sensation. Then, just as suddenly, there was stillness. The bright glowing of the watch subsided a little. It rested calmly now in his hand. But everything else around him was different. Utterly and completely different. The air smelled of coal smoke and something sweet he did not recognize. He blinked, trying to clear his vision. The antique shop was gone. It had completely vanished. He stood on a cobbled street. Old-fashioned gas lamps cast a flickering amber glow. They painted the narrow street in yellow light. Old cars rumbled past him slowly. Men in hats and women in long dresses hurried by. Their faces were pale blurs in the dim flickering light. Buildings rose tall on either side with ornate windows. A newsboy on a corner shouted headlines Raj didn't understand at all. The sounds were a symphony, a music from a forgotten era. He felt a profound sense of displacement, like a tiny ship lost on a vast, dark sea. This was not his time. This was not his place. Amazement washed over him then. The watch, the little glowing watch, had done this. It had brought him here to this place, to this strange yet somehow familiar world. It was like a scene from an old black and white movie. But this was real. He could feel the distinct chill in the night air. He could smell the unique scents of the street. He looked down at the watch in his hand. It still pulsed with a gentle, knowing light. It was a key. It was a doorway. He was a traveler now, a traveler in time itself. His heart pounded hard with a wild mix of fear and pure excitement. A girl stood by a colorful flower stall. She wore a simple, pretty dress. Her dark hair was cut short. It was in a style he had only ever seen in old pictures. She was humming a soft, quiet tune to herself. Her eyes, when they eventually met his, were bright with curiosity. She tilted her head slightly to one side, a silent question in her gaze. Raj must have looked very strange to her indeed. His clothes were all wrong for this time. His expression was probably one of utter, complete shock. He tried to offer a smile, but it felt awkward and unsure on his face. "You look lost," she said to him. Her voice was soft and gentle. It sounded like distant wind chimes. It was not an unkind voice. Raj nodded his head slowly. He certainly felt lost, more lost than he had ever been in his entire life. I am," he managed to say. The words felt clumsy and strange in his mouth. He clutched the pocket watch tightly. It seemed to grow warmer in his hand. He wondered if she could see its faint, soft glow. He wondered what she would possibly think if he told her where, or rather when, he was truly from. It seemed an impossible thing to explain. Suddenly the watch in his hand twitched. It gave a little tug. Then it lifted. It floated about an inch above his open palm. It began glowing brighter than before. The strange, tiny symbols on its surface spun around and around. Mira gasped. Her eyes widened in surprise. She pointed a delicate finger towards it. "The watch," she breathed, her voice barely a whisper. It's flying." She looked from the amazing watch to Raj, her face a perfect picture of mixed fear and deep fascination. The air around the watch shimmered slightly. It was a beacon of pure magic in the old gaslit street. Raj stared at the floating watch too. He certainly hadn't expected that to happen. It was a symbol, yes, a key to other times. But now it was showing off its power. He felt a strange, undeniable connection to it. And surprisingly to this girl, Mira, she wasn't screaming in terror. She wasn't running away from him. She was just watching, her eyes full of pure wonder, just like his own eyes were. "It's special," Raj said, feeling that the word was not nearly enough. He felt a bond forming between them, an unspoken understanding bridged by this impossible, magical object. Mira reached out her hand very slowly, hesitantly, towards the amazing floating watch. Her fingers almost touched its warm, glowing surface. "What is it?" she whispered, her voice quiet and full of awe. "Where did you get it?" Raj didn't know how to explain. An antique shop. A different century altogether. It sounded like a madman's tale, something no one would believe. "It found me," he said instead, which was true in a strange sort of way. The watch seemed to have a will of its own, a hidden purpose he was only just beginning to understand. They talked for a little while, or rather, Mira asked many questions. Raj answered her as best he could, vaguely. He learned her name, Mira. It was a lovely name, and it suited her perfectly. She told him about her life in this time, simple things, the flower stall where she worked, her family, the city she lived in. As she spoke, the 1920s came alive for him. Not just as a historical period in a book, but as a real place where people lived and loved and dreamed. The watch still hovered gently between them, a silent, glowing companion. Its soft light cast shifting shadows on their faces. Raj felt a pull, a familiar sensation now. The watch pulsed again, stronger this time. The tiny symbols on its face spun wildly, a blur of light. Oh no, he thought with a start. Not again? Not yet. He wasn't ready to leave this place. He had only just met Mira. He looked at her, a sudden panic rising in his eyes. She saw it. Her smile faded away. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice now tinged with a little concern. The world around them seemed to flicker just for a brief moment. The watch was calling him back, or perhaps forward to somewhere new. "I think I have to go," Raj said, his voice heavy. He reached for the watch. It settled back into his palm, warm, throbbing with power. Mira looked sad to hear this. "Will you come back?" she asked. Her eyes searched his face. Hope and uncertainty mingled there in her expression. Raj didn't know the answer. Could he control this